So I grew up in the East Flatbush section of Brooklyn. Woo, Brooklyn, yes, that's right. And the homes in my neighborhood were all constructed just after the end of World War II. And the area was initially populated by returning GIs and Jewish and Italian immigrants. Now, in the late 1960s, passing of the Patahan occurred when my parents and others like them purchased those homes. Now, my parents and our neighbors, most of our neighbors, had immigrated from the Caribbean in search of their American dream. And like those that preceded them, they brought their customs with them. So my mother was a practicing Catholic. She went to Mass every Sunday. However, she strongly believed in the existence of other types of supernatural beings, powers. And I would often hear my parents or the adults at my friends' homes talk about people who had suddenly become mysteriously ill or had a really long run of bad luck. And then in hushed tones, they would say that maybe someone had done something to them. Now, the something they referred to was voodoo or obia or brujeria. And those words all refer to the casting of spells or curses. And these kinds of ideas were so ubiquitous throughout my childhood that I just accepted them as normal. So years later, when my mother started to become suspicious of anyone she didn't know well, I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't alarmed. That is until one Christmas, 1999, my then husband and I were hosting a big party. And in the middle of the festivities, my mother comes up to me and says, "¿Quién es ella? Who is she?" And I said, "Oh, well, Mom, that's one of Phil's cousins." "Why?" "Me tomó una foto para joderme." She took a photo of me to screw me. I said, "Mom, that's not true." And she looked and nodded at me knowingly. I didn't say anything else, but I knew something was very wrong. So several months later, my father called me and told me that my mother had been arguing with people that were not there. He had waited to tell me about it because he didn't want to worry me, but she was getting worse and she needed help. And I said, okay. So I approached her about going to see a doctor, and when I did, she said, "No estoy loca, I'm not crazy." I said, "I know, Mom, but the voices are bothering you. And maybe if you go to the doctor, he can help give you something that will make the voices go away." And she said, "You think so?" I said, "Yeah, Mom." And she said, "Okay." So I took her to see a psychiatrist. He evaluated her, and he prescribed an antipsychotic and an antidepressant, both of which helped her significantly. Now, on another routine visit, she had been seeing him for about 2 years. She was not able to complete the memory tests that he would give her at each visit. And when I saw her struggling, I started to help. And the doctor looked at me and nodded no. So I stopped in my tracks. At the end of that visit, he told me, "Well, it's just as I suspected. your mother's psychotic delusions were really a prelude to the onset of Alzheimer's. He prescribed her Exelon and Namenda, two medications that have been shown to drastically slow the progression of the disease. And that is when the clock started ticking and my mission began. My mission was to make sure that she enjoyed the years she had left as much as possible. So I started going to Brooklyn every Saturday. I'd pick her up, take her to get her nails done, a massage, lunch, run errands, whatever she wanted to do. And then in 2007, when my father passed away and I moved her and my sister to New Jersey, that's when I really upped the ante. Then it was day trips to Philadelphia or Atlantic City or upstate New York to visit with my sisters, lots of beach outings, going to the movies, and lots of eating out. And I do believe that I have accomplished my mission, and caring for her for the last 16 years has truly been a labor of love. I have watched her slowly diminish from the strong, independent woman who ran her own household to where she is now. Some years ago, she lost the ability to speak, and most recently, she has lost the ability to walk. And it has been painful to witness it all. But she's still there. Her sense of humor, her personality, and her strong will remain intact. And for that, I am very grateful. And yes, this is most certainly a love that hurts, but it is a love that I will choose over and over and over again. Thank you.